Bing Search Console or Bing Webmaster Tools. So Fig Fine Gardens doesn't have any data because, I mean, it's a test site and there's no traffic. I'm also noticed that if I do put any effort into Fig Fine Gardens, the landscape architects in the area are so terrible, I will outrank them very easily. So I'm almost a little scared.
Oh, so you need to like get some clients in there and say, look.
Yeah.
So okay.
Actually, let me just pull. Let me go to Curious Ants because it actually has data. All right, where are you? I lost the. Oh, there it is. I lost the screen. Okay, let's look at Bing Webmaster Tools for Curious Ants. So advertisements on the top, which are interesting. Yeah, I don't really know the value of this profile thing. I'm looking at that. Here is interesting, but also my biggest frustration. So, you know, on Search Console, I say to everybody, check the dashboard every week, right? Because all the information you need is in the dashboard, and that will tell you whether or not you have to act on something. This dashboard sucks. So we get clicks and impressions, which are fine. And we can get to the complete report, which are fine. But if I want to look at my crawl errors, or that's why it's crawl requests. Okay, that's interesting to know how many crawl requests Bing has on my website, you know, up to 195 weeks ago. But there are errors. So if there's an error, I want to fix it.
Yeah, they don't give you that information.
I have no idea how to fix it. I don't even know how to find them.
Oh, wow.
So thankfully, it's not a lot of errors. But like, you're telling me I have errors and then you don't tell me how to find. So I was trying to go to like pages and stuff like that. Maybe that would list the errors, but no, this is just pages by impression. So that's kind of frustrating. Now here's index pages, which is another interesting graph. Just like crawl requests, it's an interesting graph. It's not necessarily a helpful piece of data, except that I know we are regularly adding new pages as we add office hours to the site. And it's nice to see that we're growing in the index pages as we add office hours pages, right? Crawl requests, that's interesting to know that Bing finds my website interesting enough to send the crawler to it frequently. If I saw this to be 0, I would suspect that Bing thinks I have a low quality website. So these two work as graphs, but this just cheeses me off. Like, okay, you're telling me I got problems, but where are they? What do I need to do? This is why Search Console is better for this. Besides, you know, starting point for Bing is that 20% market share. I kind of don't care about what Bing thinks of my website.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the crawl errors, the main thing is if you look in Google Search Console and make sure that Google says you're good, or it tells you your crawl errors.
But the Search Console crawl errors is much better because you could get, and it'll tell you these are the crawl errors. And gives you example pages that the crawl errors on, and you can submit it to Google and say, I fixed it. Hey, will you look at it again? With Bing, it's warning me there are errors, but I have no idea what they might be or where they might be. All right, so that's disappointing. Like Search Console, there's a URL inspection tool where you can pull in things like, and you could put in a URL. And it's going to get the information. Oh, there's an SEO issue. An alt attribute is missing. It's successfully indexed and it found several types of markup. Okay, that's interesting. Search Console has something very, very similar to that. You know, things. So that's good. And as with Search Console, that's a really good tool to check. Like, why isn't Google indexing a page? or things like that. It's helpful, but yeah, all right, cool. Site Explorer, here's where we get to the point where we're like, oh, maybe you don't have to pay for an expensive subscription to search to Curie. I'm sorry, to Screaming Frog. I mean, I love Screaming Frog, but here kind of shows me stuff, because what this does is it shows me different pages of my site organized by the kind. So like all the pages under game plan, and it's telling me it found one page it excluded. Here, there are 10 pages that are indexed under technical SEO. And what they are. I can request indexing, I can test things. So you can kind of go through these and see what's going on. Oh, okay. In the last 6 months, there are 5 URLs under keyword research. They're listed here. These got so many impressions, clicks, and even backlinks to this page, these pages. I can click on a particular page and I can view it. So I was looking at a couple other clients that I don't want to share on this screen, but like I found a link that was going and creating a loop where because the URL was written wrong, it would send it to the wrong page, and then created a new page that sent it to the wrong page. It's called a spider trap. And Google or Bing for that matter, when they crawl a website, they don't always crawl the whole site. They crawl part of it. And if it gets caught in a loop where it goes to a page, and then it goes to another page, and then goes to another, and these pages don't exist because of the content management system or whatever, you waste the search bot's time and they don't end up crawling what you wanted to crawl. So you can catch that stuff. In other words, this is a helpful tool because if you know the site well, you can say, wait, where are the other pages? Or wait, this page doesn't really exist. Why is that page created? And I could go and look and see where the broken link might be or the loop might be. So this is a lot of things that are really helpful. Another thing is that this is helpful is it all the things it doesn't say. So I have a really, really extensive blog. And there are a lot of office hour posts, but only 3 are listed. Oh, sorry, 156 are indexed. I'm wrong. I bet you I have more than 156. But I can look and see some information about all these. But I guess what I'm saying is the value too is things that aren't showing up here. Bing, in this case, is not indexing. So that might make me worried that if Bing's not indexing, maybe Google's not indexing them. And there needs to be work put into those pages. I can confirm that in Search Console. But so that's really interesting to me. They found 3 sitemaps on my website. One is a sitemap. This is the Yoast created sitemap. You can use RSS feeds as sitemaps, and WordPress automatically creates RSS feeds. Not ideal, because I mean a good RSS feed only shows the most recent posts. So you got 10 here. But okay, this gives you an overview, and then you can view it. I can download the sitemap. I can delete the sitemap out. So for instance, if I wanted to get rid of these RSS feeds as sitemaps, I could just delete them. So, okay. Google or Bing discovered 289 URLs thanks to my sitemap. Okay, cool. None of this is very exciting compared to Search Console. Oh, there's also the submission tool, which we actually did a test with a long time ago, remember?
Mm-hmm.
And it basically didn't do anything, if you recall from our test.
Yeah.
I set up the Index Now API for this website. Index Now is a, y'all have been on WordPress long enough, you know what Pingdom is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is what Pingdom wishes it could be. A way of telling the search engines, hey, there's a new page on this website. Index Now is used by Bing, Yandex, and a couple other search engines, not by Google, but Google is they say they're testing whether they want to use it or not. As you can imagine, any ability to send a page directly to Google would be very, very valuable and easy to be spammed. So I'm sure Google is like trying to decide if people are just spamming the crap out of this or not before they integrate it. Because literally you can send one page to the search engine several times a day if you really wanted to. I don't know how valuable it is. So that's what these are, the latest office hours Yusuf helped me publish yesterday, and it's acknowledging that it received them yesterday. That's cool. Okay. So that's a little bit different. You can also submit a URL manually or line by line if you really wanted to. Probably doesn't matter all that much, but if you needed to, okay. Here's where we get cool. SEO. Backlinks. This is not much different from Search Console's backlink data. Very, very incomplete. 35 pages from this website I've never heard of, probably don't even care about. Blogging Fusion is a blog directory I'm in, Journal, or just a couple of things. WordCamp, I guess I've spoken at 3 WordCamps. Oh, it's all Birmingham.
Yeah.
Right. Gonna ask for those links from those speaking engagements. So some of these matter. iThemes links, great link. Some of them don't matter. Some of them are organic. Okay. That's the links. Here are the pages on those websites that are sending me links and the anchor text. We talked about anchor text and how important that is. I can also look and see what the status of my anchor text is. So for instance, if there's one new thing that you couldn't do before, when you get a new website, you want to check to make sure your anchor links aren't abusive. Brand name, safe. Brand name with a little bit of a keyword, safe. Domains, always safe. Old brand name. What's new? Kind of a nondescript. Oh, now we're getting links that are the actual post names. Anyway, so we can use this to evaluate, do we have a problem with bad anchor text links in the sense that too many links with keywords in the anchor text that someone has been doing some link building spam? We could identify our website to see if let's say we get a new client. We can use this to say, have they done SEO before, and are we at risk of being in trouble? Because everything is SEO to the homepage, but the brand name is Curious Ants. That would be a red flag. All right, that's cool. And I know you're underwhelmed with that. So let's go to similar sites. Here are 23 referring domains and 37 different anchor texts for Curious Ants. Hey, that's cool. How does this compare to Moz.com? Not that I'm a competitor of Moz. Actually, it should be, because we're doing anyway, the point is you put a competitor in, you can put several competitors in, right? And now I can see, compare me with the referring domains, 23 domains versus 66,000 domains. I've got a long way to go. Anchor text matches significantly with lower. Domains, fine. View detailed report. Here are the websites linking to Moz more often than Curious Ants. Blogspot, WordPress, CloudFront, HubSpot, ToolZap, Weebly. Now, if this was not such an egregious example, this could be a real treasure trove of websites linking to Moz but not linking to me. Well, the first question is, well, why would this website, in this case it's Blogspot, link to Moz? And if there's a legitimate reason, well, then maybe they'd link to me too. Right? I could put more competitors here and see how they go. So instantly, I am able to do something with this Bing Webmaster Tools that I have to pay for an expensive link building tool to do. Right? So that is helpful. That is pretty big to me. Because I think, how much of your time, Yusuf, is spent doing competitive link building?
A lot.
And this isn't as expansive and as detailed as Majestic. For instance, we don't get any metrics to see, well, is this even a good link?
Mm-hmm.
But boy, there's a lot of opportunities here, and we can look and see, well, why do they link to these guys and not me? Well, it's Moz is one of the reasons, but that's really, really helpful. That's something we don't have to pay for, a very expensive tool. All we have to do is have Bing Webmaster Tools access on our account.
Nice.
And we are seeing Moz's backlinks. There you go. Moz linking from this site to Moz. Right? There's an SEO tactic for you. What is SEO? Now we can do stuff like skyscraper. You know what? What if we were to take this post? What is SEO? Write a better version of this. I don't know what better might look, but better version. And reach out to this website and say, hey, you're linking to some old obsolete article on Moz. 2 years ago, ancient history in the SEO world, right? You should link to ours instead, right? We've gotten Moz's backlinks without having to pay for it. That's huge. That's huge. So if that's the only thing Bing Webmaster Tools brought to the party, that would be worthwhile. I'm going to skip keyword research and go to SEO reports. This is like a list of stuff on the website that should be done for SEO best practices. So what I really like about this is that this is really simple. There are 4 pages that have a high severity issue that I could fix. These pages do not have a meta description on them. All right. Right? And I can add a meta description. Right? Now, I'd argue that this is not a high issue, like Bing is saying.
Yeah.
But boy, this is really easy. And frankly, a meta description may not be a huge high issue, but that's kind of it's an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? It's an easy opportunity. Image alt tag is not defined on 9 pages. Okay. There's 9 pages that have images with no alt tag. Now, literally this morning, I read an article by John Mueller about how alt tag doesn't help a page rank. It helps the image rank in image search.
Yeah.
Right. So, we always hear, well, what alt tag should I do? Well, do you want the image to show up in the image search? That might be a strategy, right? There's all kinds of benefits from that, but still, for some of these, it might be worthwhile. So that's the SEO reports. But you also get to scan your website. So you can tell Bing, hey, I want you to scan my website. You can I have a quota left of 1,000 pages because apparently I must have crawled this recently. You have up to 10,000 pages, I think, a month.
Mm-hmm.
And you can say, do the website. You can say, okay, just use the sitemap, or I'm going to give you a list of URLs to crawl. You can get an email when it's done. And then you go here and you see what other errors Bing has found. There's the missing meta description. What is this issue about? Blah, blah, blah. Actually, that blah, blah, blah is pretty nice. It's pretty good. How to fix? Blah, blah, blah. Okay. It's a little more technical because this is platform agnostic. We use WordPress. We typically use Yoast plugin so that it's really easy to add a meta description. But what I find really hilarious on Bing's documentation describing the site scanner and the SEO reports is it says, fixing these issues may help you perform better in other search engines too. I don't know, do you know any other search engines besides Bing?
Yeah.
DuckDuckGo.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously, like, they don't want to say Google because they're too
Yeah.
proud, but like that's exactly. And honestly, I pulled these scans for all of my clients, and they're pretty good advice. Like, I wouldn't call them missing the meta description an error, but blocked by robots.txt. You know what? I need to make sure these are the ones I really do want blocked. And in this case, yeah, block these bad boys. I don't want Google or Bing indexing them. So that's correct. Block those. Here's an opportunity. The title's too long on these pages. Okay, maybe I can make it a little more concise. Now, it says 70. Google seems to suggest 60. So that might be a difference between Bing and Google. But, even there's an interesting debate we could have about how long the title tag should be. But to have these kind of ideas to say, oh, I'm going to work through the website on this could be a really, really big help. And the value is knowing which one of these are really valuable or not. Like, I'd say, hey, you got time to write 74 meta descriptions? You might as well. Is that going to hurt you? No, not at all. Is it going to transform your life? Probably not, but it could be missed opportunities. I like to say that meta descriptions are really important on landing pages or service pages and not as important on blog posts. All the search engines are going to replace, if you don't have a meta description, replace it with text from the page. So on a blog post, it's probably less valuable. But if you're selling something on the page or you have a service, even if it's not a ranking factor, it's a sales opportunity factor. It's why you should click on this as opposed to the other 9 blue links on the page. So this is the kind of thing that Screaming Frog could tell you, but you don't have to pay for Screaming Frog. So if you just go in once a month and say, hey, why don't you crawl my website? See if there's any issues. I like the robots ones because it kind of says, hey, are you sure you don't want the refund policy indexed? Right? That's a good question. Yeah, so it helps with that. So these are really good things that you'd otherwise have to pay expensive tools to do. But keyword research is great too. I like the keyword research tool. First of all, if you have an established website, you're going to see some suggested keywords that Bing thinks your website is related to. Can I tell you how excited I am that Bing thinks my website's about DIY SEO?
I know, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. So I click on that. And unfortunately, this isn't a great example, but it tells me some impressions over this is 3 months, I guess. So now, one of the important things with doing keyword research is having a number rather than an intuition to decide which keywords are most important. Mm-hmm. So I can use this to collect not only numbers, SEO techniques. I should go to this is a like a user interface. Okay. He wants you to do that. All right. SEO techniques, SEO digital marketing, SEO meaning, probably not a great keyword. What is SEO? Search engine optimization, Google. Ironically, Bing is suggesting Google SEO. That might tell us a lot about this. Learn SEO, yes, please. SEO optimization, that's a pet peeve of mine. What do you think the O in SEO means?
Yeah.
Yoast SEO, SEO tools, like, okay. But then I can download these and kind of compare. I can sort these by impressions to see what words are searched for more often. I don't know what SEO is doing. Great Barrier
Reef and Paul Walker, what on in Bermuda Triangle?
Right.
Black Mamba, that's a snake, isn't it?
It is, but here we go. Search engine optimization. Again, Google SEO. Oh,
no, that says Google CEO.
Yeah. What is SEO? SEO meaning. Anyway, let's see if this works. No. All right. This hasn't worked for me yet. It was promising for like, what questions do people ask about this topic? I have yet to see any query generate anything there. I thought that would be really good. Newly discovered isn't there. But again, like that not only helped me think of new keywords that I might have overlooked, but give me numbers to compare to say, okay, is this really a good example? So I did with Fig Fine Gardens, our test site. I don't even have to change to that account. I can research any keyword I want from this. So landscape architecture, architects near me. Right? So one of the things we know about the near me phrase is that Google and Bing treat that word a little different so that that tells me they know people want a landscape architect in their town. So then I don't have to look for a landscape architect in Charlotte as a search volume because I know that near me says there are people who want a search engine, a landscape architect near me, right? I can limit to the United States if I want to. That changes things a lot. But here's the other thing that really short circuits the keyword research process. One of the steps is do some Google searches to see if that keyword is generating potential competitors. Well, we don't get Google here, but we do get Bing. And it's still the point. if I'm a landscape architect, how to become a landscape architect is not a competitor to me.
Correct.
I don't teach people. Landscapearchitect.com. I don't know. Let's take a look at it. Oh,
That's just,
oh, let's see what it's doing. There you go.
Yeah.
So we can actually look at the website. Is this a real competitor of mine? Or is this something very different?
Kind of.
Oh, this is a magazine.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not a competitor, but boy, that might be a link building opportunity.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Which is one of the other values of doing the keyword research. What is landscape architecture? So again, not a competitor. So the phrase landscape architect is probably not a great word, but if I narrow that down and say landscape architect near me, not only is this where I want to show up, but I'm getting websites. I should be on House. I should be on Home Advisor. I should be on Angie.com. I should be on Thumbtack. I need to be in the Triple B, right? Yelp, God forbid, but still it's in there, right? So I'm getting a ton of information. I'm also seeing topics. So this Bing says is almost a topical orientation towards what it thinks this website's about. So, remember, Google and Bing are not just thinking so literally about the words. They're thinking topically, right? So it's suggesting that even though this may outrank this might, if this is what I'm in my space or related to what I do topically, this is probably a good competitor. So then what I could do is I could pull this website into the competitive backlink tool. And now I got an active keyword backlink, a competitive research campaign going on. Look at all, and that's just all from the keyword research tool. So the value we can get out of Bing Webmaster Tools is huge. And so I'm going to revamp the processes to include more of these tips because there's so many great things to get out of it.
I also found a free Chrome app that can find broken links on pages.
Oh, good.
It's called Check My Links.
Oh, is it find it on the page or find it in the domain?
I think in the page. I'm not sure. I didn't test it, but just saw it on a video.
Oh yeah, that's a Chrome extension. I just installed that like last week because I also heard it on something.
What was it?
I was checking that out. Check My Links.
Oh.
I was going to play around with it. I never did.
I will test it and compare it to Majestic to see how accurate it is, and maybe we can add it to the processes too.
I would suggest that the plugin probably looks on a page-by-page basis.
Yeah, I think that's what it does.
Helps you find where the broken link might be, but not necessarily find a website that has broken links. So it could be helpful, especially if you're troubleshooting things. But yeah, play with it. See what you can find out. Anyway, that's why I'm so excited about Bing Webmaster Tools. There's so much in there that kind of fills in gaps.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for sharing all that. That's really interesting.
It does take like 48 hours or so to collect the data once you sign up. So if you do it this week, maybe by Monday, you'll have some data. That's what I've been learning.
Yeah, that's big, deep rabbit holes, right?
Yeah.
Just diving into data.
Yeah. Well, I really like that it's very actionable.
hmm
I think their SEO reports and site scan can be a little bit of a misnomer, but if you spent time doing it, it's not bad advice. It just might not be as impactful as it seems to imply. And so even if you just did that, okay, that's going to help. Is it the earth-shattering most important thing? Maybe not. But there are some things in there that, like, there are some options, like some things it'll tell you. It's like, hey, it's a notice, which is the lowest level of importance. And I'm like, oh my God, that is huge. Like, Bing warned me that a couple of my clients' sites have HTML greater than 125K. I'd never heard of that before. And then you read on it, it says, you are less likely to be cached by the search engines because your page is too big.
Ooh.
Oh, I'm very interested in that. I found a client's homepage that was bigger than 125K, which Bing's saying we might not cache that page. And it tells you what to do. You might have too much CSS. You might have too much embedded CSS. You might have the code at the top of your page and it doesn't get to the bottom. Oh, yeah. I think that's a high priority. Bing's downplaying it like it's a low priority. No. If I ever see that, I'm going to stop everything, fix that problem. Because I want, especially a homepage, you bet your butt I want that indexed. I want the cached. Yeah, so anyway, I was like, oh, stop, full stop, stop everything. We're going to fix that problem. So really, really huge, helpful insights.
Yeah.
That their priorities are a little out of line.
Good info, but not in the right order for
Right,
you.
exactly. Missing H1 tag on the page. Okay. Doubled H1 tags. Okay. Missing title tag. Yep. Fix that. So those are all, there's about 15 data points that will share with you. And I was looking, I'm like, yeah, they're all worthy of paying attention to. So I'm going to release a kind of a definitive list of all the different things that Bing Webmaster Tools will show you, and my humble opinion on what is the most important and what is less. So that's what I've been accumulating today. So anyway.
Yeah. Cool. Do you know